Guys.
I'm here on Vegematic and interviewing the famous America's doomsday prophet, Hambone Littletail. And I've been following Hambone for many years, and some of you are over here from his channel. Generously, Hambone has lent me some of his subscribers, so I'm grateful for that. And you may have heard our interview with Hambone when he interviewed me. So what I wanted to do is get some questions in that people would wonder about Hambone and sort of get to know, dig beneath the surface a little bit and get to know the man Hambone Littletail and how this all came about, and whether you agree with him or not, you have to agree that he brings up some pertinent issues. And I guess the only argument is how long before the great cataclysm. Is it this year, is it next year, or maybe 5 years? Anyway, that's irrelevant. So I'd like to introduce, with no further ado, or maybe an ado or two, here is Hambone Littletail. How you doing, Hambone?
I am doing just fine on this absolutely spectacularly glorious day here in the S.
Shut up. You know, it's...
If you saw, now this is a postcard of a perfect planet today.
Oh, you lucky bastard, you. I tell you.
And if you only knew what you were the day you're missing here in Garfield, Texas.
Well, I'm not missing some things about Texas, but I suppose the weather might be...
You're missing this beautiful weather.
That's right, the beautiful weather. We have snow on the way now after having a record amount of rainfall over the weekend. Freezing rain, high winds, broken trees, and I emerged unscathed, as did you, from the tornado. What happened there?
You blew right off past Garfield.
Well, that's good.
I do see a big branch lying on my lawn outside the window that I'm just now noticing.
Well, that's not bad. You were spared on the floodplain then.
Yes, dodged another bullet on the Texas floodplain.
Okay, so here we go. First question I wanted to ask you. It's very simple. It's just at the beginning. Where were you born, Hambone?
I was born in Piedmont Hospital. That would be on Piedmont Road in Atlanta, Georgia, on September 22nd, 1959.
Interesting. I'm a 57 model myself, so you had the flat fins. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, probably to answer that, I thought. Well, before I heard about journalism, I just thought I was going to be doing something with animals, some sort of biologist, some sort of professor of biology or something probably, but working with animals. And then as I started reading, probably, around 10 or 12, started reading Audubon magazine and all the limp-dick mainstream environmentalist magazines. My vision for my life was going to be, I was going to be, by the age of 30, was going to be a roving field editor for Audubon magazine, being paid a lot of money to travel the world to gorgeous, beautiful places.
Sounds like a nice life.
It did not work out that way.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be an astronaut, so there you go.
This is as close as I will ever get to be a roving field editor for Audubon magazine. Twisted irony in the dream and the reality.
Absolutely. So looking back, though, what was the happiest time? What was the happiest? I'm rushing you a bit because I know you're in a hurry and you got to get to your festival.
I got a full hour.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome.
I just have to leave here in an hour. No, don't feel rushed at all.
Oh, okay.
The happiest time of my life was the first 5 years I moved to Austin, Texas. So that would be 2000 to 2005, where I I still had money with me from my various real estate investments and whatnot. So I got a job, this absolute slacker job. I was a piss hauler for the world's biggest drug testing company. So what I did all day was I went around and collected piss.
You're lying. You're putting me on.
I am absolutely not. This was the 5 greatest years of my life. I put on my little monkey suit for Incorporated. So I drove around piss all day, getting.
You were a good person to know in those days, probably too.
I was very valuable around all my soda friends. And so anyway, but it gave me the opportunity to every single night. I didn't have to be at work till 10 in the morning and got up at 7 at night. So every night, literally pretty much for 5 years, I would go out partying in South Austin, Texas, with my clueless, lovable moron friends. I mean, party down. I had girlfriends and friends and an easy job and an ironic, absurd job. And it was the top of my life in those years, the early years in Austin, Texas. Hands down, I can easily identify the happiest time of my life.
So when was it that it changed from being the happiest time of your life to being America's doomsday prophet?
Well, unfortunately, I was spending more money than I was making as a piss hauler, so my real estate slush fund ran out after 5 years of that, so I actually had to go back to selling real estate for Keller Williams Realty in Austin, Texas, starting in 2006. I went back to work doing that shit, getting in the grind, making my 6 figures a year, going out buying a beautiful house to live in, and I think I was up to 5 rentals and making my $100,000 a year and all of that shit. But that lasted a total of, I did that for 6, 7, and 8. And that all came crashing down in the year 2008, which really did, and people think I'm lying when I say this, it had absolutely nothing to do with the financial crash of 2008.
It was more of a personal crash.
Yeah, it was. So 2008 is when I really started down this rabbit hole. As you can tell from my earlier comments, I mean, going way back.
Right.
When I was a kid, I was interested in animals and the outdoors and the environment and ecology. I mean, when I was 5 years old, and then after college, I got my degree in journalism, and then I spent 7 years as a newspaper reporter and editor, still following an environmental journalism track, but I fell off that wagon back in 1988 and went and just said fuck it and went into real estate. So it was. So I had all of this quote eco-Nazi stuff bubbling somewhere in the reptilian part of my brain, but it was still the hopium inspired apocalyptimist.
Greenpeace.
Limp dick, mainstream environmentalist. I still, up until 2008, and maybe even a couple of years after that, I was still, like 99% of these joke environmentalists today, was under some fucking delusion that we were going to turn this train wreck around. So in 2008, when I pulled my head out of my ass and started dedicating my life to really digging into this rabbit hole, into the doomosphere, I mean, I've come to the conclusion anybody who is honest with himself is going to come to, we're fucked. We are hopelessly, irrevocably or irrevocably supposedly, I've heard that word pronounced both ways, we are fucked. There is no way we're coming out of this.
No.
It ain't happening.
So do you think that people are in such a sense of denial as a way of coping with this knowledge, or do you think that having this knowledge is making your life better? I mean, you said the happiest...
Absolutely. It's not making my life better. It's the single most horrible thing I've ever done with my life, is taking this particular red pill. And you know, of course, I mean, the whole mystery of the clueless fucking moron, I mean, it is one of the essential mysteries of my life. I mean, I spend most of my life trying to unfathom, if that's a verb, the mystery of the clueless fucking moron.
Yep.
And then I'm not even sure, I mean, before you deny something, Rich, do you have to admit it? See what I'm saying? In order to actively deny something, you have to be aware of it.
Sure, but I think it's a subconscious defense mechanism that people have. I think they're aware of it on some level, but they push it so far back in order to cope.
Well, for the people who are aware of it, but I'm just getting more and more to the conclusion that the vast majority of humanity is not so much in denial because they have never been in the tiniest bit of awareness about how fucked we are. There's a little bit of inroads are being made with climate change.
A little bit.
And I mean a little bit.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, but so that's clear as K-Rose syrup.
Sure.
That the fucking denialist and at least the global warming climate change denial.
Oh, sure. I lived in Alberta for a while. I can tell you about denial.
Oh God, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Denial.
It's all about money. How did you come up with your name, Hambone Littletail?
Well, this also is sort of a mystery. I am 100% sure that when I was just a little kid, I'm talking 3 and 4 years old, this is the name that my mother called me. It was Hambone Littletail. And it was good enough for...
I'm disappointed. I always thought that Littletail was a reference to your sex life.
Well, and for the past 8 years, no tail. Very, very little tail. So anyway, so my sister said obviously that I must have gotten into some of her purple microdot. She always blames it on the cat. Eating her 7 dots of purple microdot. But she said obviously you knew that our mother never called you Hambone Littletail. And so I actually started Googling, and there is no such character. There is a character named, my real name is Sam. There is a character out of a children's story about some little rabbit named Sammy Littletail.
Okay, so that's close.
He's a little chipmunk. He delivers the mail on Blueberry Lane.
Yeah.
Someone trying to call it. So he delivers the mail on Blueberry Lane. So Sammy Littletail does exist. Where I came up with the Hambone, it obviously was
Well, sort of a blues-sounding thing, you know.
Yeah, but it works well since I'm a harmonica player, wherever it came from my sister's purple microdot or wherever. It does lend itself to being a harmonica player in South Austin, Texas.
So how long have you been playing the harp?
Well, I've been playing around with the harp probably, good God, for over 30 years, but it was really when I moved to Austin in the year 2000, and I moved to Austin planning to be here 1 year, to spend 1 year in Austin, and I came out here to learn guitar. I really wanted to learn guitar, and I thought I could not think of a better place. And so about my 4th or 5th guitar lesson, I bought an acoustic guitar,
Sure.
an electric guitar, hired this teacher. It was like the 4th or 5th lesson, he very delicately resigned his position to keep
you get to smoke on the water? Did you get to learn smoke on the water?
I wonder if I did. That might have been the point where he ran. And he told me, he said, "Junior, this is true." He goes, "Hamma," he goes, "every fucking 9-year-old in South Austin, Texas, is a better guitar player than you." He said, "I was 40 years old trying to start guitar at age 40." But what is weird about Austin, there's hardly any harmonica players.
Well, there you go.
What you need to do is put the damn guitar down and pick up your harmonic and just go to all of these anywhere you can to learn how to,
Well, I've heard the results. It's good. You're a good player, so,
It's playing a musical instrument. I'm not even sure it's half of it. It's learning to play with
other people. Yep.
is what is so important in Austin. It doesn't matter how good of a player you are. If you don't know how to comport yourself in in what I call a pick and circle.
Oh yeah. It's all about dynamics when you get into that, and
Yeah, so that's really, yes, group dynamics like anything else. So that was really, as much as actually learning to play, it's learning to play with other people. And so any aspiring musicians out there, that is so important. Sitting around playing in your living room, in your headphones, with your CDs, it doesn't cut it. You've got to get out.
Got to get out and play live, yeah.
Sit down with other people.
Yeah. Are you on stage at this festival that you're going to?
No, I go to this festival, what I call the parking lot pickers. It's after the music shuts down at midnight. The parking lot pickers come out.
That sounds like fun.
All of these little, that's what it's all about. It's like all these little organic, little picking circles all over. And so everyone just wanders around and meets up and plays 5 or 6 songs together, and then you split up, and it starts at midnight. The party begins at midnight, and this will be starting Wednesday night, and goes to, we usually, where I wrap it up is 4:20 a.m., and so I take my 4:20 good night hit at 4:20 a.m.
Yeah.
And go to bed. So that's what.
That sounds like a really good time, actually. You gonna post some videos of it?
Well, between midnight and 4 a.m., I won't be any video.
Oh, okay.
Just audio. I might put out just some jet black screens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would like to bring some video of the actual stage performances, but these fucking YouTube copyright strikes. That's point where if you're out listening to live music now, it has nothing to do with the performer. The performer wants you to be doing it, but if you're at a live music event and you record a song out at a public venue, even if they're playing in a public park,
you cannot post it.
And that song is on a CD that some fucking music company owns.
Yep.
Are you following me? That song, the studio version of that song, they might have recorded that fucking song 5 years ago. You record someone doing that live in a public place, the owner of that CD company will pop your ass on YouTube, and the fucking YouTube cops will give you a copyright strike. 3 of those strikes, you're out.
You've had 1, so I don't think you're going to get the other 2. It sounded like for a while you were worried they were trying to get rid of you.
I'm sure as hell not going to speed the universe by putting any sort of stage performance. I would love to be introducing you guys to a lot of good musicians. It's not worth a fucking YouTube.
No, exactly. Can't do it.
Yeah, the strike I have now, and I'll understand there's a difference between the copyright strikes and the content strikes. if your channel is not monetized, as mine is not and yours is not, these copyright strikes 99 out of 100 times will not count. You'll get the strike, but they don't count as a strike.
No, I know what you mean. I've had a couple of those where it's
your channel is monetized.
Basically though, then they can run their ads on it.
So they rip your video, put it on their site. They make money off their monetized site. So as long as you don't have a money, you could usually, but not necessarily. They can bust your ass. It's their discretion.
I'm amazed I haven't had any strikes, because I don't know if a lot of my work is obviously copyrighted video, but what I do is you're allowed to use, I think there's a fair use thing where you can use a few seconds of it. So what I do is distort it first off so that it doesn't look like the original, or make a composite. And I've never had a copyright strike on any of that stuff, so hopefully that'll keep going.
But it's the content, the shit that's been going on recently with YouTube, which I really think, perhaps naively, has peaked. A couple of months ago when they hired all those goddamn cops.
Yeah.
That seems to be backing off because, I got that first ridiculous content strike, which I appealed. I won the appeal, so they removed it. So right after they gave me another strike, which was even more outlandish than the first one, I appealed it, and that one stuck. So I've got one strike against me. But what happened was, a couple of weeks ago, when a certain person we don't talk about on my channel anymore was trying to get my channel shut down. So what he did, he went after me with YouTube, this anarchist, taking full advantage of the system to silence his detractors. So he went after me. So what they did in both of his, when this person who shall not be mentioned on my channel went after me, they gave me the option. YouTube gave me the option to fix it. They said, you have 48 hours. No, I'm sorry, the first time he went after me, YouTube, instead of just giving me the strike, which is what he wanted, because he knew that I have one against me, so he needs to get 2 more strikes against me. So what they did on the first time he went after me is they gave me 48 hours. They said, you can delete this in 48 hours or get your strike. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I mean, so I said, fuck it. I'd already had my fun. I'd already gotten over 1,000 views.
Yeah, so take it down. Who cares?
So I was only going to get 10 more views for the next 10 years. So I took that one down and did what they did. So then that happened, and then he reported another one. I guess he just picked one. And what they did on that one is they put it on age restricted.
Right. Okay.
Which means supposedly, I don't know how they guard against this, supposedly no one age 17 or under can listen to my video. Oh, that's going to make a lot. How many 12-year-olds do you think Hambone Littletail has tuning into him?
I don't think too many. Maybe 1 or 2, prodigies.
I have one age-restricted video. So if you're not 18 years old, you cannot listen to that scandalous video. Those bad words. Those bad words will corrupt your little mind. like every 15-year-old doesn't have a filthier mouth than I do.
What's the internet? I mean, everything's there. Everything's out there, and there's no way they can control. They can stop little kids from watching if the parents are stupid enough to not supervise them. But that happens too.
Yeah, they're way too busy watching Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
In a lesbian anal daisy ring. They are listening to Hambone Littletail.
It's too early for this, Hambone.
Can you imagine, Ben? Let's be honest. If this damn internet porn porn had been around when we first hit puberty like that? Can you imagine?
No, I can't. Because
maybe even a little girl entering puberty and having this. Do you remember the Playboy magazine?
Absolutely, yeah. And then Penthouse came out, and it was a really big deal, you know, because they were more explicit. And then, you know, I waited till I was 18, and I of course went into one of those restricted movies, and this little, you know, one of those theaters where, you know, you stick to the floor as you walk down. Anyway, yeah, that happened years ago, and you know, I was 18, right? Like before I could see a naked girl.
Now, I mean, any goddamn 12-year-old.
It is frightening in a sense, and it's, you know.
This is just not something, a subject of interest on Humpty Dumpty Tribe. I don't know what it has to do with the collapse of a planet, but the internet porn has gotten to the point. I mean, my God, what is it doing to the brain?
Developing brains, you can't even go there. I mean, I just think it's they're going to end up screwed up adults and screwed up. You know, it's something totally natural, sexuality, and turning it into something weird. But you know, I mean, it's the times we're living in, Hambone. There's not much we can do about that shit, you know. And that's another reason I've always been glad that I haven't bred.